one of the things I was keen in on, and Jack talked about, we have a whole thing about like what is your weapon of choice in a zombie apocalypse. But the reason I had brought that up was because I think like now that you're thinking like a dad, you need to prepare for these times, and you with your background, like you're already on it. Like me, I was gonna see if Jack wants to go and like apply to get a gun, and like we're gonna film it and do a whole thing about like how you responsibly get a gun.
You guys live in California. Oh, that's the worst, guys.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
it's going bad. I'm in LA. He's in San Diego. So up here, it's Armageddon.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for me to get a gun in Texas, literally, I go fill out some paperwork, and I can pick it up that day. Like if my instant background check passes, which it will, I can pick it up that like within probably half an hour. I could leave the store with a long gun. A handgun, I think it's still a 3-day waiting period, but
yeah, 3 days.
Yeah. Just 3 days. Talking to you now, I feel like Chris would be better off with a pocket knife than we would with
so somebody once was like, can I borrow your knife? And I'm like, which one? Because I've got this one's a rat too, and then I've got this one that I always carry. But like I just started carrying this one because I'm doing a review on it for a YouTube channel. And I just started carrying it the other day, and I'm like, I don't love it for a couple of reasons. But this guy here, I mean, this is my day-to-day knife. I've had it for like 15 years now. It's just, you pick what you've got. And people are always like, why didn't you get a new knife? I'm like, this one does everything I needed to, man. I don't need a new knife. Like what? But they send me stuff.
This brings us into our traditional segment on the show of Show Your Knife. You always have to have it by. You always have to have it.
There you go.
Have it on. Yeah. So wouldn't.
Mine says my name on it.
Yeah, I got the Home Depot status, the DeWalt.
There you go.
Home Depot, just
rocking that, dude.
Utility.
Yeah. No, it's getting the guns a lot easier in Texas, and that's something I'm grateful for.
Yeah. What was that, Jack?
First I was saying that I think Chris would be better off with just a pocket knife than we would be shotguns in a zombie apocalypse. That guy is just badass.
Yeah.
But
down.
I was saying that this one, bachelor party.
Nice.
I got it from McIntyre's wedding as a wedding gift.
Oh, very nice. Oh, he gave those out for a wedding gift at his wedding?
Yeah.
That's pretty damn. If you go to a wedding, you come away with a knife, that's pretty badass.
That's a good day.
Yeah.
Score.
Now, if I had to pick my weapon of choice, it's a weapon of choice. Are we talking guns here? Is that what we're talking about?
We had a whole, no, we said no guns because
no guns.
Not
okay.
as fun. We're talking about the typical Hollywood slow. If you're in World War Z where the zombies are fast, then we're talking
fast
guns.
Zombies. Oh goodness.
No, but we're talking slow zombies. I'm samurai sword. Jack has a baseball bat with spikes on it. That's because he just wants
small spikes.
I've got a nice hickory handled axe it's like a timber sports style. So it's a little bit shorter handle, heavier head. That'd probably be, I can lay up about a cord of wood if I fell in trees with it and got it pared up in a couple of hours. But yeah, like that, properly sharpened up, that'd be my go-to. Because it's got the short handle, the weight is good.
I want Chris on my side.
You feel good with it? Yeah.
Like I feel good with it. I've swung it enough that I'm confident with it. I've fallen trees with it, so it's good now. Either that or the chainsaw. I've got a Stihl MS-251 in there, so that's a good saw.
That's solid choices. Do you feel comfortable? Maybe have both because eventually you're gonna have to throw the axe.
Well, the problem is apocalypse is the gas. I mean, you're gonna have to use the fuel, and then you got to maintain the chain. Like, there's just a lot that can go wrong with a chainsaw. Versus the axe is just, it's the classic melee weapon, right? So
I'm going samurai sword because that shit's durable to a point. Because zombies aren't gonna have anything come back on that. It's fast.
I just feel like it would break. I don't know. I feel like you break the blade on something.
You become one with the blade, and then it's really
Kill Bill style.
You threw the blade. I've never actually swung one, so I'm talking shit.
I was like, whatever you say, dude. Sure.
That shit breaks the first swing.
Yeah, you'll find me like throwing rocks and shit. So
nice. That's the thing. It's apocalypse. It's going to be the survival. The little old lady, like my next door neighbor, she's 87 years old. I called her up to make sure that she was okay when the snow hit here, and she has a well on her property and propane, and so she's like, "No, what's happening?" And I'm like, Sophie, like there's like people lost power and she's like, oh, well, I never lost power, so everything's been fine here. I'm like, okay, just making sure, Sophie, you okay? Yeah, I've got water and propane, so I'm good.
Yeah, she's made it this far.
Like,
she's figured out how to live.
That's who's gonna survive in a zombie apocalypse. She's just gonna stay home for 30 days until it all blows over.
Yeah. Sophie's a badass.
Yeah,
Sophie is a badass. She's old school survival. So as long as she keeps the doors locked, she's good.
Zombies will just think that she's one of them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. But that was a fun segment that we had just talking about that, because it's like it just goes into the survival mode of being a dad. Like now all of a sudden you got something to really think about. Like before you were just bravado and cocky and just thinking about yourself. So if you got in a fight and got hurt, it's just you. But now it's like the real serious factor of like you have protection. So that's the serious conversation of that whole thing was, do we get a gun? The pandemic has made us look a lot closer at that, because I'm not anti-gun so much as I am anti a lot of other people having guns. Like it's the whole way that the whole conversation around guns. Responsible people with it is a different conversation, but just
if you want
protecting your kid and things like that.
If you want a really fantastic book that talks a lot about that kind of stuff, there's a book called Sentinel by Pat McNamara. And the subtitle is Becoming the Agent in Charge of Your Own Executive Protective Detail. But his whole shtick in the book is he was a former Delta Force guy. And so after when he was in Delta and after Delta, he was in charge of like VIPs.
So Delta, I always wanted to be a Navy SEAL when I was a kid, and still love the Navy SEALs. Which one do you think is higher? Is it Delta or Navy SEAL?
They're different tools in the toolbox, I think. That's my opinion of it.
You're going to be president one day, Christopher. That was a good answer.
Well, because here's the deal. Like Delta, their whole shtick is going behind enemy lines and helping the CIA accomplish their mission. SEALs is all about, quick in and extracts and high performance missions. They're not meant to be the same. But it's like the same people like, who's better, the Green Berets or the Navy SEALs? They have different purposes. Like the Green Berets, their whole deal is to go in and train the indigenous forces to become a force multiplier. The Navy SEALs is all about high-speed tactical performance. So it's different strokes for different folks, and they're different purposes. But, every time that I listen, like when you go listen to Jocko or David Goggins or any of these guys, you'll hear them talk, Jocko Willink.
Oh, Jocko Willink, yeah. Why I say Sims, yeah. Jocko
Willink or David Goggins, or you can go listen to Pat McNamara, any of those guys.
Goggins is legit too. He gets me off my ass running too.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think of Lone Survivor guy. His name's gonna come to me in just a second. If
you say Bear Grylls,
no. No, the guy that's Lone Survivor. I forgot his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Marcus Luttrell. Luttrell. He talks about it in his book quite a bit, where he talks about like, my ass got rescued by Army Rangers. Those dudes are badass. Like, like they just like, I think they all respect each other, recognizing that they have different missions to fulfill. So, but anyway, Sentinel, he talks about like how to train your kids and kind of how to create a situation and grow your situational awareness and kind of create a situation where you're going to be in charge of the situation instead of reacting to it.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic book. It's like, I don't know, probably 120 pages. It's not super long, but it's a very good book regarding a lot of that kind of stuff. And it gives you practical ideas based on his experience. So it's things like back into your parking space. So if you need to, you can pull straight out and get out of a bad situation.
That's me right there. I'm always thinking about that.
Know like challenge, know where the exits are going to be, know where you're at, know who's around you, like that kind of stuff, which creates puts you in a better situation than if you weren't paying attention to it.
Sentinel. That's another link I'm going to post in the description for this. That's
Sentinel by Pat McNamara.
Yeah.
And he's got a fantastic channel. He runs a podcast called University of Badassery, and then he's got a company that he has. I think it's T-Max Inc. But yeah, Pat McNamara, I think his Instagram is at T-Max or something like that. I can probably find it if you need it.
Yeah, we'll figure out the real one, once you put it down, and then it'll all be official down there for anyone, because I'm gonna have to look into that too now. But that's like
Pat McNamara.
That's the next step in like my whole approach is really I have no protection right now other than just me. So I just am really like the next step of fisticuffs. Like next thing is got to figure out. I'd love to take Jack and see if we can go out and maybe do a little day of like actually getting guns or something like that and filming it and doing it responsibly. Cause I just know like probably there's a lot of other dads out there thinking the same thing of like, especially with pandemic times, everyone going freaking nuts, in the storming of Capitol Hill and everything. Just, I hate to admit it. It's just feel like in these
It gets
days,
to be a
like
little
you
bit,
might need a gun. Yeah. And I just never felt like that way before, but like once having a daughter, and maybe it's different having a daughter too. Cause like, fuck, a little girl in the world.
The best piece of advice I can give you about getting guns is go to a range that rents guns and try a bunch of different ones. Are you looking for a long gun or are you looking for like a pistol, handgun?
Probably handgun, honestly.
Handgun.
Up here in LA.
Yeah, go to a good indoor range or a good range, any range that rents guns, and you can usually most of them will set it up where you can say, hey, I'm looking to buy a gun. I want to try 5 of them. The guy behind the counter will usually recommend a couple of them. You can do your own research beforehand if you want to, but try a couple of them because I mean every gun's a little bit different. And then decide what you like, and then buy. That would be my recommendation. Don't just go out and buy something because you'll end up getting something else afterwards.
What do you think, Jack? You want to do that?
I got to make sure I can.
One of us. No, I'm just kidding.
I got to make sure that my background comes back. I think I have to wait 10 years from when I was 23 or some sketchy shit in the past. But we should be good. We should be good now.
Should be good now.
So let's do it.
Yeah, we'll try it out. I mean, I think we could still go to a range, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can do that. I just can't.
Ownership.
Well, a few years ago I couldn't own one, but I think I can now.
Dude.
Nice.